The first time I saw the Obsidian Throne, it swallowed the stars. Black armor slid out of eclipse, bristling with lances and spines. My bridge went quiet. The tactical map sprouted red. "Transmit surrender," Lieutenant Vale said. "They don't accept it," I said. "And we don't offer it. Our one advantage, timing. A skirmish had cost us ships but gifted doctrine. Vilari fleets loved symmetry, triads, mirrored arcs, neat cycles. I told our corvettes to die in a pattern the Queen's AI would find beautiful, and while her artillery admired itself, I slipped a knife into the music. "Begin the ghost," I told Ops. Salvage drones loosened from our flagship spine, playing dead, cold signatures, cracked hulls. They drifted toward the throne's forward hangar as offerings. Inside each husk, wet code and a coil of compressed helium. "Range? 2,000 clicks," Vale replied. "Drift nominal." Rumor said the Queen could see through any camera and feel a reactor's hum in her bones. Fear didn't need truth at all. "Mark," Ops whispered. The drones woke. Code unwound through the hangar net, rewriting permissions in small steps. Helium burst into the chamber. We weren't trying to explode the throne. We were changing the speed of sound. Now. Our gunners fired a single volley. The shots arrived just as the throne's shield harmonics compensated for a density that hadn't existed a minute earlier. On the graph, her front lattice rang wrong. The volley slipped inside. Not fatal, just a bruise. The throne answered. 3 beams carved the dark. 2 escorts became vapor. My ship shuddered. 90 seconds before they correct, Ops said. "Detach the Faraday," I ordered. A stealth shuttle tore free and burned toward the wound. It carried 6 Marines and a field Xyra, built to turn equations into sand. If planted on the lattice, it would scissor a corridor to the central spine. As the shuttle raced, the throne changed. Lines of defense shifted, as if the ship inhaled. "Elias," Vale said, "she sees it." "I know." I clicked into the pilot's couch as the Faraday slid into the hangar storm. Static bit our ears. A Vilari interceptor skimmed past. I banked hard, scraped paint, and landed with more noise than pride. "Move," I told the squad. We plunged through scaffolds. A lance of purple light kissed the deck where my head had been. I flung a stun disc, the gunner froze mid-stride. The Xyra whined on my back. At the inner bulkhead, a door waited, tall, etched with razor script. The throne spoke through it in a voice like frost. "Human Commander," it said, meaning pressed into my skull. "Welcome to judgment." "Jury's out," I muttered, slapping the Xyra onto the door. Space bent. A corridor sliced open. We ran. Inside, the air smelled like rain on iron. The architecture felt grown, ribs curving. The throne noticed me the way a forest notices flame. "Vector. Central spine, 200 meters, Vale said, voice thin with interference. Private access. Movement inbound." A Vilari Praetorian stepped around a curve, armor drinking light. It raised a halberd that hummed. "On me." The Marine beside me took the first swing on his shield. The halberd flashed and shoved him down the hall. I fired not at the soldier but at a ligament of the hallway, a node where light pooled. The biostructure convulsed, the floor lifted. The Praetorian stumbled, the Marine's knife found a seam. The giant fell. "Keep moving." We reached the spine door and found it open. She stood inside. Queen Xyra was not the monster on our posters. 2 dark eyes. Skin with an amethyst sheen. No crown, just a collar of living metal. She looked at me like a mathematician facing a riddle. "You are Elias Kane," she said. "And you're the reason I don't sleep," I replied, gun leveled. "You wounded my throne with curiosity," she said. "Ingenious. Wasteful. Human." Her guards were still, frozen by a command I couldn't hear. "Stand aside," I said. "I'm here for your lattice keys." "My empire's spine," she said, almost amused. You came for it alone. Alone is relative. You'll kill me, I said, but you'll remember I walked here. Why do you defy? She asked. Your species is young. Survival would be easier beneath my law. Because fear isn't law, I said. It's a lazy substitute. She considered that. Take him, she told her guards. I fired. The shot splashed against a translucent plane that appeared between us. The nearest guard moved. I slammed a pulse charge into the deck. The floor kicked, everyone stumbled. I dove for the panel behind her dais, even as a fist found my ribs. Bright nerves branched beneath. I jammed a cable, dumped the last of the ghost code, and told the throne a lie. For 3 seconds, every sensor on the palace believed the queen's heart had stopped. Silence hit like vacuum. The guards froze. Xyra's eyes widened, surprise. In that stillness we stared. Her gaze dropped to my cable, then rose, and something like laughter ghosted her mouth. You are intolerable, she said. You're welcome, I gasped. Safety's reset. The guards surged. I had no tricks left. Xyra lifted a hand. Enough, she said, and the guards stopped. She approached. Her collar whispered in a language my implants couldn't parse. She tugged the cable free and held it up. You gambled with my life to stall my soldiers, she said. You will not die today. That implies a tomorrow, I said. It does, she answered. You'll see it from my side of the bars. Orders rippled. The guards lifted me. As we crossed the threshold, I looked back. Xyra watched me, curious, irritated, alive. In the cell, the throne hummed low. I lay on the bench and listened to the ship breathing. Somewhere near that heart, a queen who should have killed me had chosen not to. That wasn't mercy. It was interest. And interest is a door most walls can't keep shut for long. The cell was alive. Its walls pulsed faintly, as though the ship itself listened to my heartbeat. No seams, no locks, only smooth living alloy that flowed when guards passed food through. The throne didn't need bars. I sat cross-legged, ribs aching from the Praetorian strike. Every breath stung. Still, I replayed the moment in the Queen's chamber, the flicker of surprise when my hack tricked her palace into thinking she was dead. A queen like Xyra wasn't supposed to be surprised. That was leverage, however small. The door rippled. She walked in alone. No guards. The room's glow bent subtly toward her, like light obeyed her presence. You breathe harder than you should, she said. Her voice was even, without triumph. Bruised ribs, I answered. Souvenir from your toy soldiers. You provoked them. I smirked. They provoked me first. She studied me as if weighing the taste of each reply. Then she stepped closer, no fear of me snapping her neck. Maybe she knew I couldn't, not yet. Humans, she said softly. Always turning pain into defiance. Why? Because pain means we're still alive. Alive means we can still resist. Her gaze narrowed, not angry, interested. You do not fear me. I do, I admitted. But fear doesn't buy obedience. It buys silence. And I'm terrible at silence. A thin smile curved at her mouth. It was gone before it settled, but I'd seen it. She turned, circling the chamber as if it were hers and not a cage meant for me. Your kind's defiance will cost billions, she said. Every colony your fleets abandon, every city that burns, your name will echo with their ashes. I didn't start this war, I said. You did when you demanded we kneel. And you would not. Would you? That stopped her. For a beat, the hum of the throne filled the gap. She tilted her head, almost like she'd heard a riddle. No, she admitted. The honesty surprised me more than any threat. She turned back, cloak whispering. Then you see why you fascinate me, Elias Kane. You are the mirror I cannot break. You could have killed me, I said. I still might. Then why haven't you? Her silence was an answer. The cell felt heavier, as though the ship leaned closer to hear her reply. She didn't give one. Instead, she drew closer, so near I caught the faint metallic tang of her skin. "You tampered with my heart," she said. "Few survive such audacity. Fewer intrigued me enough to speak afterward. Guess I'm lucky." "Luck," she said, "is a word for mortals who mistake will for chance." I leaned forward. "Then maybe will brought me here." The air between us tightened. Something unspoken passed, quick as a pulse. She stepped back, breaking it. "You will dine in my chamber tomorrow," she said suddenly. I blinked. "Dinner? That's how you treat prisoners." "That is how I treat challenges." With that, she turned. The wall opened, and she left me with nothing but the fading echo of her steps. The next cycle, guards escorted me through winding halls that felt like the inside of a living beast. The throne's walls shifted subtly, adjusting paths like veins. I kept my chin up, though my gut knotted. Every soldier we passed looked at me with contempt, yet none touched me. Her order, no doubt. Her chamber was vast, walls translucent with stars bleeding through. At its center, a long table shimmered with dishes I didn't recognize, violet fruits, meats that glowed faintly, silver drink that fizzed without sound. She sat at the head, armored but without a crown. "Sit," she said. I did, stiff. My plate filled itself, a tendril from the table placing food with unsettling grace. "Eat," she ordered. "I don't trust alien cuisine. Would you insult me by starving?" I hesitated, then bit into one of the violet fruits. Tart, sharp, and oddly refreshing. Her eyes never left me. "Your people would call this a trap. Poison hidden beneath beauty." "Wouldn't be the first time," I said, chewing. "And yet you eat." "Because refusing would be weaker than choking on it." Her lips curved, faint but real this time. "You learn quickly." The meal stretched, tension woven tighter than words. Finally, she leaned back, studying me like a puzzle piece forced into the wrong shape. "Do you know what my subjects fear most?" she asked. "You," I said. "No. They fear my disappointment." Fear is easy to wield. Disappointment rots deeper. It makes them worship. "And what about you?" I asked. "What do you fear?" Her eyes darkened, twin voids. Irrelevance. The honesty struck harder than any blade. For a heartbeat, she was not the dread empress but a ruler carrying the weight of centuries. "You think humans are a threat to that?" I asked. "You already are," she said. "One commander who defies me, and stories spread faster than my decrees. If I kill you, you become a martyr. If I keep you, I gamble with contagion. Maybe you should let the contagion spread." She leaned forward. "Careful, Kane. You are still my prisoner." "Prisoner or guest?" I asked. Her gaze lingered, unreadable. Then she stood, cloak unfurling like wings. "You are both," she said. Back in my cell, I couldn't sleep. Her words gnawed at me. She feared irrelevance. A queen who ruled by terror, afraid of being forgotten. That was the first crack in the fortress. I remembered her closeness, the way her tone softened unbidden. Not mercy. Curiosity. Maybe loneliness. The throne hummed. I pressed my palm against the wall. For a moment, I wondered if she was listening on the other side. "Tomorrow," I whispered, "I'll make you question everything." The wall pulsed once, almost like an answer. And in that strange rhythm of ship and queen, I realized something dangerous. This war wasn't only fought in fleets. It was fought here, in words across a table, in glances that lasted too long. And if I played it right, I might win both. The alarms woke me. A low tremor rolled through the walls of my cell, followed by a shriek that wasn't human. The throne itself groaned, like a wounded beast. I swung to my feet as the wall parted without command. 2 guards stormed in, weapons ready. "Move," one barked. "Where?" I asked, but they didn't answer. They shoved me into the corridor. The air smelled of ozone and blood. Sirens pulsed. For the first time since capture, the Obsidian Throne felt uncertain. We turned a corner and nearly collided with her. Queen Xyra strode from the opposite hall, cloak streaming, armor glowing faintly as if feeding on the ship's panic. Her gaze snapped to me. "Release him," she ordered. The guards hesitated. "Majesty." "Do it." They obeyed, stepping back. My wrists were free. She didn't wait for thanks. "We are under assault," she said. "A rebellion festers in my own fleet. They have breached my throne world." "Convenient timing," I muttered. Her eyes narrowed. "Not your doing. If it was, I'd already be gone." She studied me for half a breath, then turned. "You will walk with me." "Why?" "Because you are useful. And because I choose it." I followed. Not because she commanded, but because chaos had cracked open an opportunity. The palace heart was under siege. Smoke poured through fractured passages. Vilari soldiers fought their own kind, armor clashing in violet sparks. Rebels marked their insignia with slashes of white paint. I watched one cleave a loyalist in half before Xyra's hand rose. A line of light burst from her palm, searing the rebel into ash. Her soldiers roared, rallying. She didn't look back at me. "This is what your people inspire," she said. "Defiance is contagious." "You sound almost proud," I said. "I sound furious." We pushed deeper into the corridors. The ship pulsed angrily, light stuttering. At one junction, a blast door sealed halfway, trapping a group of loyalists inside. Rebels hammered from the other side. Xyra stopped. The door groaned. Her soldiers strained, but the mechanism was jammed. Without hesitation, she looked at me. "Can you free it?" "Depends what your door's made of." "Alive," she said. I knelt by the seam, hands pressed against the warm surface. The throne structure thrummed under my palms, like veins vibrating with fear. I remembered the trick with her lattice, the way code bent when sound shifted. My implant pinged against the living metal. "Talk to me," I whispered. A faint pulse answered. The throne knew me now, recognized the trespasser who had once faked its queen's death. I coaxed it with short commands, shifting frequency instead of brute force. Slowly, the door shivered and unlocked. Loyalists spilled out, rallying around her. She glanced at me, eyes unreadable. "You open what my soldiers could not." "Intriguing." "Don't sound too grateful," I said. "It might ruin your reputation." The battle pressed toward the chamber of command. We arrived at its gates as rebels surged. Explosions shook the floor. One blast hurled a soldier into me. Instinct made me grab his weapon and fire. A rebel fell. Xyra caught the moment. Her gaze lingered, sharp as a blade. "Fighting for me now, Commander?" "Fighting for survival," I said, tossing the weapon aside. "If you die, I'm next." Practical. Human. The doors gave way, and the rebels poured in. For the first time, I stood at her side in combat. She moved like lightning, each strike precise, every gesture turning the throne itself into a weapon. Walls hardened, spears of alloy shot from the floor, rebels impaled in an instant. I fought clumsier, but efficient, aimed shots, sudden dives, using their own chaos against them. We ended back-to-back without meaning to, her cloak brushing my arm, her voice steady even in slaughter. "Do you see, Elias? This is why I cannot allow rebellion to spread. Maybe they are tired of fear. They chose war over loyalty. And maybe they chose freedom." Our words tangled between strikes. She cut down another foe. I dropped two with a stolen blade. Blood and smoke thickened the chamber. When the last rebel fell, silence returned heavy as stone. Bodies littered the floor, steaming in the cold light. Her soldiers cheered, but her focus never left me. "You could have fled," she said. "And run where?" "Into vacuum." "You stayed. You fought. Again, survival. She stepped closer, expression unreadable. No. Something more. You despise me, yet you bled beside me. That contradiction will haunt you. Or you, I countered. After the battle, we entered the high chamber. The throned core pulsed above us like a black star. Her council waited, faces pale with fear. One dared to speak. Majesty, why is he here? Because he proved himself, she said simply. The counselor sneered. A human prisoner. Her gaze cut him short. A human commander who saved my soldiers. Speak again and you will join the traitors. The chamber went silent. She turned to me. Your people will think you lost. But here, in my halls, you gain influence. Dangerous influence. I didn't ask for it. You didn't have to. She dismissed her council, leaving only us and the quiet hum of the throne. For a long while, she studied me. The weight of her eyes was more unsettling than the battle had been. You are different, Elias, she said at last. I have conquered 1,000 foes. They begged, they cursed, they broke. You remain whole. Maybe because I know I'm not fighting alone. You speak of your fleet. Of my species. Of the idea that no empire, yours included, gets to own us. Her lips curved, not quite a smile. And yet you stand here alive because I allow it. Or because you want me here. That struck. Her expression flickered, anger, curiosity, something raw beneath. She turned away, cloak flowing. You will remain my guest, she said. Not my prisoner. Not yet my equal. But close enough to unsettle me. And you'll remain my captor, I replied, not my executioner. Not yet my enemy. But close enough to unsettle me too. Her laugh was soft, almost human. Careful, Elias. Wars are won not only by ships, but by hearts that forget who they belong to. She left me standing beneath the black star of her throne, wondering whether I was breaking her defenses, or she was breaking mine. And for the first time, I wasn't sure which outcome terrified me more. The war reached its breaking point 3 cycles later. Humanity's fleets massed on the edge of the Orion Expanse, daring the Queen to meet them in open battle. Every relay screamed with intercepted messages, rebels in her empire calling for uprising, human commanders promising the final strike. The galaxy leaned forward to see whether humanity would be erased or endure. I stood in the command chamber of the Obsidian Throne, no longer caged, no longer guarded like a trophy. Soldiers passed me glances of hate and suspicion, but none dared touch me. Her order was clear, I belonged here until she chose otherwise. Queen Xyra sat upon her dais, still and terrible, cloak pulled like liquid night. The black star of the throne pulsed overhead, synchronizing with her heartbeat. She looked every inch the empress who had bent civilizations, yet I noticed the tension at her jaw, the faint tremor when she curled her hand. Your people are bold, she said without looking at me. They prepare for a war they cannot win. Funny, I replied. That's exactly what they said about us before every war we've fought. Her gaze snapped to me, sharp as glass. You believe defiance will always save you. No. But I believe submission never does. For a long beat, silence reigned. Then she rose, and the chamber seemed smaller. You've infected me, Elias, she said. Your words echo even when I wish to crush them. When I close my eyes, I see your defiance as if it were my own reflection. I swallowed. This was not the speech of an invincible monarch. This was something else, more dangerous. You're not alone, I said quietly. Your own people are rising for the same reason. Her expression shifted, anger, denial, then weary truth. If I falter, my empire fractures. If I bend, my throne dissolves. Do you understand what you ask? I'm not asking you to bend, I said. I'm asking you to choose. The choice came faster than either of us expected. An alert flared crimson across the chamber, *human fleet advancing. Dozens of ships. Daring a straight strike at the throne. Her council shouted panic, arguing over responses. Some demanded annihilation, others begged retreat. She silenced them with a gesture, but her eyes sought mine. You came here as enemy, she said. Now you stand as witness. Tell me, Elias, what would you do? I felt every gaze burn into me. I should have lied, fed her pride, bought time. Instead, I spoke truth. I'd stop fighting to keep power, I said. I'd fight to keep meaning. Let your empire change before it breaks. Stand with us, not against us. Her council erupted, furious at my audacity. One shouted, kill him now. Her hand rose. The room froze. She stepped down from the dais, every stride deliberate. You dare suggest alliance, she asked, low and dangerous. I dare suggest survival, I said. For both of us. The chamber shook as the first salvo rocked the throne. Dust rained from the ceiling. The black star flared. The war had arrived. We raced to the bridge. Through the panoramic view, I saw humanity's fleet charging, weapons blazing. The throne's armada moved to intercept, loyalists against rebels, a storm of fire tearing the void apart. Xyra stood at the center, every console obeying her gestures. Prepare main lance, she ordered. If she fired, the leading human cruisers would vanish. My people would die by the thousands. My throat tightened. Xyra, I said, using her name instead of her title. The bridge gasped. She froze, eyes flicking to me. You fire that lance, you prove everything we feared, I said. You'll win a battle and lose the galaxy. Another impact rattled the throne. Officers shouted for orders. Her face was stone, but her hands trembled just enough for me to see. What would you have me do? She asked. Stand down. The words cut through the chaos like a blade. The bridge fell silent. Her officers stared in disbelief. You asked me to yield to you, she said, voice brittle. No, I replied. I'm asking you to yield to yourself. The part of you that already knows fear isn't enough anymore. Her eyes locked on mine. For a breath, the battle outside faded, the bridge hushed. Then, slowly, she lowered her hand. Cancel the lance, she commanded. Shock rippled across the crew. Some obeyed instantly, others hesitated. A counselor screamed betrayal. She silenced him with a glance colder than death. The throne shifted course. Instead of striking at humanity's fleet, it moved between loyalists and rebels, blocking both sides. Xyra's voice carried across every channel, magnified by the throne's living systems. I am Xyra, Queen of the Orion Expanse, she declared. I do not fall. I do not kneel. But today, I choose a different war. The age of fear ends here. The word spread like fire. Loyalists faltered. Rebels roared. Human commanders hesitated, stunned. I watched her, unable to speak. She had done what I didn't believe possible. The next hours blurred. Negotiations began amid wreckage, truces declared, guns lowered. Not peace, not yet, but something rawer, a pause carved by choice rather than force. When it was done, she found me alone on the observation deck. Stars stretched endless, fleets drifting uncertainly in their wake. She approached quietly, no crown, no guards. Just Xyra. You defied me, she said. You led me, I replied. Her eyes softened. Perhaps I needed someone to. We stood in silence, watching the scars of war fade into distance. Finally, she spoke again, low enough for only me to hear. My people will never understand this. They will call it weakness. They will call me ruined. They'll call it change, I said. And change scares everyone. She turned, searching my face. And you, Elias Kane. What do you call it? I held her gaze. Hope. For the first time since I'd known her, she looked uncertain. Then, slowly, her hand brushed mine. Not command. Not possession. A gesture simple, human. Then let us hope together, she whispered. The galaxy beyond still burned with wars to come, But in that moment, on the deck of the most feared throne in existence, two enemies stood side by side. And for once, the future didn't feel like a sentence, it felt like a choice.